The Man in the Abandoned House. It was the summer of 2009. And like every year, my family and I traveled from California to Minnesota to visit my father's relatives. Unlike the busy city life I was used to, my father's hometown was surrounded by endless forests, deep lakes, and eerie silence that stretched into the night. My father's family lived on the outskirts of town, miles away from any major road. There were only 2 other houses nearby, both separated by thick woods. The quiet isolation was unsettling at first, but over the years, I had grown to love it. My only friend there was a girl named Morgan, who lived next door. She was around my age, and we spent every summer playing together with my younger sister Lily. From sunrise to sunset, we would explore the forest, climb trees, and tell ghost stories near the lake. One afternoon, we were outside playing badminton when Lily hit the birdie too hard, and it flew over the fence into the neighbor's yard. Morgan immediately tensed up. "I have extra birdies inside," she said quickly, already heading toward her house. I frowned. "Why don't we just get it? It's right there." Lily shook her head. "I don't think that's a good idea." Ignoring their warnings, I jogged toward the fence and peered into the yard. It looked abandoned. Overgrown weeds covered the ground, and the paint on the house had peeled off in large patches. The windows were covered in grime, making it impossible to see inside. As I pushed the gate open, my sister grabbed my arm. "Don't. It's fine," I reassured her. "It's just a birdie." The moment I stepped inside, a chill ran down my spine. The air smelled damp and stale, like something had been rotting there for years. I spotted the birdie near the porch and reached down to grab it when I heard a soft creak. Slowly, I lifted my gaze. Standing on the porch was an old man. His clothes were ragged, and his skin was leathery, as if he had spent decades under the sun. His eyes, however, were the most unsettling dark, sunken pits that reflected no light, as if they had absorbed every last flicker of humanity. They seemed too hollow, too deep, like endless voids staring straight into my soul. A faint, unnatural glimmer flickered within them, as though something else was looking out from inside him. His mouth curled slightly, but it wasn't a smile. It was something else, something wrong. His eyes were small and dark, watching me with an unreadable expression. I swallowed hard. Sorry, our birdie landed here." He nodded slowly. "I see." I hesitated, then motioned toward the gate. "I'll just grab it and leave." "You're welcome inside," he interrupted, his voice raspy. "I have some old toys upstairs. My grandkids used to play with them. You can take them if you'd like." Everything in my body screamed at me to run. Before I could move, Morgan's voice rang out. "Get out of there!" At that exact moment, a shadow flickered behind the old man. It wasn't just a trick of the light, its shape was jagged, unnatural, shifting in a way that defied logic. It stretched and recoiled, like it was trying to escape the doorframe, yet something held it back. My breath caught in my throat as I realized it wasn't standing still. It was watching me. It was brief, so brief, I almost doubted myself, but for a split second, I thought I saw something peering from behind the door. Something tall. Something that wasn't human. I turned to see her standing by the fence, her face pale. The old man's expression didn't change, but his fingers twitched slightly. I backed away slowly, gripping the birdie tightly in my hand. "Thanks, but I should go." As soon as I reached the gate, Morgan grabbed my wrist and yanked me away. Lily followed close behind, her face contorted in fear. When we were a safe distance away, I exhaled sharply. "What the hell, Morgan?" She shook her head. "That house is abandoned." I blinked. "What?" She pointed toward it. "Nobody has lived there for years. The last family that owned it moved out ages ago. My parents told me to never go near it." But I glanced back at the house. The porch was empty. The door was slightly ajar, swaying gently in a breeze. There was no sign of the old man. For the rest of the summer, I avoided that part of the neighborhood, but some nights I swore I saw a figure standing near the house, just beyond the trees. At first, I convinced myself it was just a trick of the shadows, a play of the moonlight against the gnarled branches. But then, I noticed something chilling. The figure never moved, never shifted, never disappeared, no matter how long I stared. It was always there, watching, motionless, watching. But every night, As I lay in bed, I could swear I heard something rustling outside my window. One evening, I gathered enough courage to ask my father about the house. He furrowed his brows and shook his head. "That place?" I nodded. "Yeah." Morgan said no one lives there. "That's true," he said. "But years ago, a man used to. People say he lost his mind after his family left him. One day, the neighbors heard strange noises coming from the house. When they went to check, they found him rocking in a chair, whispering to himself. My stomach turned. What happened to him? They took him away, my father said. He was committed to an institution. No one's lived there since. I forced a laugh. So it's haunted then? My father shrugged. Could be. I tried to brush it off as a weird coincidence. Maybe I had imagined the old man. Maybe my mind had played tricks on me. But one thing still doesn't make sense. If that house had been empty for years, why did I hear whispering outside my window at night? It wasn't just the wind or my imagination at times. It was a single, rasping voice murmuring unintelligible words. Other nights, it was multiple whispers, layered over each other, as if an unseen crowd had gathered just beyond the glass, speaking in hushed conspiratorial tones. The words were always just out of reach, slipping away the moment I tried to focus, but the feeling they left behind was unmistakable. Someone, or something, was trying to communicate, or worse, trying to get inside. And why, every time I closed my eyes, did I see his sunken, lightless gaze staring back at me? Who opened the door?